Hello and welcome, everyone. I hope you all are doing great. Let me first, perfect. Congratulations on being admitted to UC San Diego and the Jacobs School of Engineering. You should be extremely proud. You should be extremely proud of all your hard work. Just so you know who's talking, you have 2 hosts today, as well as 4 undergraduate students within the Jacobs School of Engineering. My name is Alejandra Arguelles, and I'm a program coordinator for the IDEA Engineering Student Center. And I support our student organizations through our Matching Funds program, as well as help coordinate other programs within the department. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on over to our one of our other hosts, Sean.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Sean Ariana. I am a 4th-year mechanical engineering major. I am also a vice president internal for the National Society of Black Engineers. This is one of the many engineering organizations on campus, and I'll go more into that in this webinar. So
Perfect.
today
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, you can go.
I'd like to explain what the IDEA Engineering Student Center is. We are a department within the Jacobs School of Engineering, and the Jacobs School of Engineering is a division within UC San Diego. And the IDEA Center supports all students in the School of Engineering through student engagement, academic support, and student retention. And for those of you wondering what IDEA stands for, it stands for Inclusion, Diversity, Excellence, and Achievement. So passing it on back over to Sean, who will kick us off for the rest of the webinar panel so you all can hear from our student leaders.
All right, great. So as I was saying before, we're going to be asking our panelists questions about their orgs so you can learn more about how it is being a student and being involved in a student org. So you can go to the next slide.
Yeah, 1 second.
All right, so let's introduce the rest of our panelists. So we have Maria Galvez, who is a chemical engineering major and is with SWE, which is the Society of Women Engineers. We also have Juan Gutierrez, who is a mechanical engineering major with SHIP, which is the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. We also have Samantha Lee, who is a mechanical engineering major and is with SACE, which is the Society of Asian Science Engineers, correct? And we also have Maddie Sporquette, who is a math and career science major and is with WIC, which is in Women in Computing. So can all the panelists hear me? Just make sure.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. So the first question I'm going to ask y'all, how did you go about learning about different orgs when you're in school, like the first year or whatever?
I can answer that question. By the way, this is Juan. So I feel like what the school does great as is introducing a lot of orgs through the library walk, which is basically a space on campus along the center part of campus where a bunch of orgs get to table and present themselves to all the first years and all the students on campus. And that's how I got to learn about most orgs.
Cool. Yeah, actually same here. Not only there's a library walk, but the school also has events themselves. We also have a big event. We have mostly every quarter called Engineers on the Green, where we actually have a lot of the engineering orgs come on campus, go to the Warren Mall, and all of them come together and have tables and information about all the engineering orgs. So it's like a giant fair where you get to talk to almost every engineering org on campus and get to see like which one is more interesting to you and you get to learn more. Does anyone else want to answer that question?
I can answer it. I think for me, it was my first years when I learned a lot about the orgs, and I actually looked at flyers because people would post flyers for their club events. Usually their first GBM or their info night, and I'd always go because they had free food and I was a freshman, and that's what enticed me.
I'll go ahead and answer as well. I think Engineers on the Green is really where I got to see all of the different engineering orgs that UCSD and Jacob School has to offer for engineers specifically. I came in knowing that I kind of wanted to get involved in the Society of Women Engineers, so it was really cool and really easy to be able to find them just at this event where all of the orgs were.
Great. So then, let me ask another question. So we also have what are other engineering organizations that are other than the ones that are in the panel? So that I know of, they're not only diversity organizations, but they're also organizations that deal with a lot of things on campus that can go from helping the environment to even like project teams and other things as well, even honor societies. So I myself is actually in an environmental engineering organization called Engineers for a Sustainable World, where we have many projects that all have to do with using engineering to help the environment. I myself is in a solar car project where we're trying to build a car that's going to be run by 100% renewable energy of solar panels. And the whole entire org itself has a whole bunch of projects that are environmentally friendly. And anyone else want to talk about any other orgs that they're also a part of that they know of? Hello? No one can hear me, right?
I can talk. In addition to being in SACE, which is the Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers, I'm also a part of SEDS, which is Students for the Exploration and Development of Space. That's another project org that kind of like Sean was talking about, except we do all space-related projects. And because of that, I know a lot of other space-related kind of rocketry clubs that are also on campus.
Cool. So another question that we also have is how do you remain motivated to stay involved in your organization if you are just a general member? So I can also answer that as well. So I've been in NESB for like pretty much all 4 years. And every year I try to like give myself a little more responsibility to go into events and stuff. So like, of course, when you come into your first year, you don't have to like, go to organization events or anything because this is your first year and you're still trying to get comfortable with school. But then when it comes to your second and third year, it's best to try to join in orgs more because it helps you like create that system of students who are doing the same thing you're doing or trying to do the same thing that you're trying to pursue. And definitely NESB helping with that. And also, I also joined ESW. I met a lot of students who are also interested in helping the environment with engineering. So those things really kept me motivated in joining student orgs because I get to meet people who are just like me, using their engineering skills to do things that they want to do. Anyone else want to answer that question?
Hey, I'm Maddie. I'm the president of WIC. I just got the audio worked out. But just the question was staying involved for all 4 years, right?
Remaining motivated. Sorry about that. Yeah,
sorry.
motivated and involved.
Being motivated. I think that even just being in an org really helps motivate you because you're surrounded by people who also want to like stay focused, have study groups with them, but then it also helps you find friends. And being alone in your class can really be something that is really stressful or really be the thing that unmotivates you. So I think being involved with WIC and other orgs has really helped me stay positive, especially in schoolwork and social life.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and second that. I think a lot of our student orgs are really a community where we all motivate each other to stay involved and stay active and stay motivated towards school and student orgs. And yeah, I think it's just a really good way to meet other people that help you stay motivated and keep you involved in things that are really important.
Great. So to get into more about orgs. Orgs also have boards where they pretty much control the whole entire organization and how events are done. So the next question I want to ask is what advice would you give to students to be a successful board member? So I myself, again, like I said, I am the vice president internal for the National Society of Black Engineers, and to be successful in that role, I make sure to put a lot of time away into doing this role. Since I'm an engineering student, I do have a lot of work to do as a student, but I make sure to put time away to be able to do things like get rooms done for the org, make sure the calendar is done ahead of time so we know what events are happening in the future. We have meetings together to make sure that we know what's happening all together, and whatever thing is going on, we're all working together on is done well. So pretty much to do well as a board member, you got to be able to have that time commitment and stay motivated. Anyone else want to ask that question? How to be a successful board member?
I think being a successful board member is kind of similar to being a good student. Time management is really important, as well as communication. On my board, we all understand that everyone's an engineering student or working on something that's related to engineering, and our classes are hard. So for us, communication is key. We don't really mind if you need to take a step back for a bit. You just have to let everyone know. And we really just want to be supportive and make sure everyone is doing their best in school and everything.
Yeah, I agree with what Maddie said. So basically, being able to talk to your board and telling them when things get hard in like the school aspect, because we all come here to like get a degree, and I feel like that's one of the most important advices to do, being open to talk to your board about what issues you're going through.
And to add on to that, we're all engineers and we're all like on these boards together. So we like odds are if you're having an issue or you're having trouble, whoever you're like accountable to on your board, odds are that they've been there as well. So everyone's really understanding of having other commitments and having things going on.
Cool. Oh, I see. No, so they're also asking in chat to make sure when you're talking to everyone to say their names before they answer the questions. And I believe they also want everyone to put on their video so they can see everyone. I'll do that as well. Just give me a second to make sure. Everyone can see me good, right? All right, great. So let's see here. Next question we have is how do you budget your time, or what's a good advice to help manage extracurriculars in school?
I can answer that. To help budget my time, I actually have an Excel spreadsheet that breaks down like, every day, and really good. Sometimes it'll even be like wake up at this time, have meeting, and then homework time. It helps me keep everything straight because it's really easy to mix up deadlines for orgs and for homework and for exams. So it helps me to have some. This is actually having a planner, but putting it online, and so I can see it, and so I can edit it all the time and make sure that I'm on track to do what I need to do.
I can answer that as well. I think all of us who are panelists right now are definitely very heavily involved in our student orgs, and by no means do any of you need to be this involved. If you're looking to get involved in student orgs, a lot of them are as much involvement as you want them to be. So you don't need to jump in and commit all of this time to orgs. If you're worried about school and your classes, you can just like go to general body meetings once a quarter and check it out. You can try out different orgs. You don't have to fully commit right away. So just wanted to highlight that it's not so much of a time commitment if you don't want it to be. It's really whatever you want it to be.
Great. All right, so we're gonna actually go into some of the Q&A questions we have. So the first one that we have here, what opportunities do the organizations represent / offer, or like what did you get out of your organization? Did anyone hear that?
I can start. I think one thing that is not really mentioned that much is community. I guess it is mentioned a lot, but most people, when they first come in, they think about like career opportunities or projects. But what's really important to me now that I'm almost graduating is the community and the friends that I've made through my org. And I think that's really important, as I said before, especially when things get hard, when it's late nights and you're studying. It's really helpful to have friends there to keep you going. Yeah, I forgot the rest of the question, but yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to say it again. What opportunities did the organization represent / offer, and what did you get out of your organization?
Oh yeah. Okay, so I got friends, but also a lot of our orgs go to conferences together, and those conferences will have career fairs or project or presentations. So those are also really valuable, especially as some of the conferences that we go to are diversity focused. So companies or schools attend also are diversity focused. So it's really helpful.
Yeah, I can also answer this question as well. So from being at NESB, I definitely got a lot of community at mine as well. I've been friends with most of the members since the beginning, and even on the board together. So it's been great having that community. Um, we not only offer community, we also help academics and also professionalism. So I think one of my favorite things about professionalism when it comes to NESB is we always try to make sure to train a member before going to conference. So NESB also has a conference every year, and that happens during our spring break, which is very helpful. So we can use the whole winter quarter to teach our members how to work on their resumes. We also make sure to help them out when it comes to elevator pitches, which are very important, so they know how to present themselves when going to them, and also having mock interviews if possible, so that when they're if they do get to have interviews at companies, they already know what how to answer questions, and they can feel better. So once it comes to the end of the quarter, they have their resumes fully done, they know how to present themselves, and they can go to conference feeling more confident about themselves and do a lot better. And that's, I guess, one of my favorite things about being on the board at NESB. So another Q&A question you also have is so can you join your org anytime of the year? Like, for example, if you want to wait a few weeks or so to get a hang of UCSD, can you maybe join after a month? So I can also answer this question. So for some organizations, that's more open-ended than just like joining. Like for NESB, we really don't have like a member form. We just have our GBM sent out to our Facebook page, and if you haven't gone, we usually have about 3 GBMs throughout the whole quarter. So if you can't come the first one, there's always 2 more to go to, and you can come to any of them. You don't have to come to all of them, of course. But it's always welcome for anyone to come to check it out, so you can talk to the members, and we'll send you an email, and you'll get to know more about it through a newsletter. So you don't always have to come in the first weeks. You can always just wait until maybe the middle of the quarter or even the end of the quarter if you feel like you're not ready yet to really talk about your to join organizations. Does anyone else want to answer this question?
I can talk a little bit about that. For SACE, we have an intern program, and for that it's kind of like a mini board for us. So with respect to joining an org any time of the year, that takes place in the beginning of the year. So if you do want to join kind of more on the board, you're going to need to kind of push yourself to do that. I think when I first started UCSD, I was kind of scared. I was like, I don't really know what's happening. I don't know which orgs to join. I just kind of joined them, and I ended up really loving SACE. So with respect to that, sometimes if you want to join boards early on, then it has to be at the beginning of the year. But then you can be a general member at any time. And that's really flexible with you. So you can go at any time you want. You can go to GBMs, any of the events, meet the people, and then try to get more involved the next year. And you can join the board.
Yeah, I think it's the same for a lot of our orgs. They're really open to anybody at any time you want to get involved. I know some of the organizations that are more project team based or that are competition driven have more of a like recruitment cycle at the beginning of the year just because they need a specific team that they can work with for the whole year. But with our kinds of orgs and like community based orgs, like one centered around certain majors, those ones are always open throughout the year.
All right, great. So actually going into project teams, someone did ask a question about that. For organizations working around a single project, like the solar car I mentioned, or so how many students are in the organization and how well are members involved? So I can answer this one starting off. So I've been in solar car since my third year, and the number of students can actually be different depending on what we're trying to do. So usually the leads will ask the organization if they want to have more members, and they'll see like how many they want in the organization. I mean, yeah, in the project for whatever tier. For Solar Car, we actually have two sub teams, which are the mechanical team and the electrical team, and we'll add students, for whatever they need for that one, either electrical or mechanical. For other projects, it could be something that's like the beginning of the year for their project, or it could be even more towards when the challenge of the project, because most projects have a challenge or a contest, and they usually start recruiting maybe a whole year before that, so they already have a whole year for the members to start working on that project. Will anyone else who ever worked on projects before want to talk about that as well? All right. Well, then we'll just go to another question. So right here we have so do you have to be a specific major to join most organizations? So it really depends. Some organizations may ask for a specific major. So NESB does not. We pretty much open to all like engineering or engineering majors and some math and some science majors. For other orgs, they may ask for certain types of engineering majors. But anyone would like to talk about that?
Our org is open to everyone. We're inclusive of all majors, genders, backgrounds. I myself am technically not in the Jacob School of Engineering. My major is in the math department, and I'm still involved. I'm on board. I'm the president. So yeah, for women in computing, we're inclusive to everyone.
I'll say the same for SWE. It's and most of our orgs, I think you don't have to fit the particular demographic that it caters to, just as long as you support us and are open to women in engineering. You're welcome to come to any of our events and be a part of our org in any way you want to. So like I'm a chemical engineering major. I know there's the American Institute of Chemical Engineers is an organization. So a lot of majors have these major specific organizations that you can join. But again, I don't think you need to be the specific major just to go to the event. You can go if you just want to learn what chemical engineers do and what they are all about. But yeah, most of us are open to absolutely anyone that wants to join, as long as you're respectful and supportive of our community.
I agree with Maria. SACE is really inclusive. My roommate actually, she was on board, and she switched majors. Sorry, she's a public health major. Not necessarily STEM related, but we're not necessarily STEM, but we are definitely very inclusive. We do all, most people take all majors, all everything. So never be afraid to join because you can find a community of people that have similar interests to you.
Cool, great. We also have another question that's pretty similar, and has to do with competition organizations and projects. So, can any major join competition or organizations? I can also answer that for the solar car team. Like I said before, we have both a mechanical team and an electrical team, but not everyone on a mechanical team is a mechanical engineering major or aerospace, and same thing for electrical team. Not everyone is electrical. Actually, our last electrical lead was not actually an electrical engineering major at all. He just felt that he had to know how to be able to be an electrical lead. And actually, right now for our new leads, our our new mechanical lead is also not a mechanical engineering major. Um, so it really depends on the competition organization, but it really has to do with how you present yourself and what you can do in the org. Because it's mostly not about like your major, but what skills you're able to bring to the table for that project. So if you say that you are maybe you say major, but you actually know how to use certain skills like computer modeling or good at physics and stuff, you can still join a mechanical team that will deal with those kind of problems, and vice versa.
This is Juan, by the way. I agree with what Sean said. I feel like it's mostly the drive that dictates what you're going to be working with instead of what your actual major is. You can be learning all these techniques from a mechanical engineer without being an actual mechanical engineer, just because you have a passion for learning that sort of thing. I feel like most orgs just look at you and want to see that you have a drive to want to learn and can work with others instead of their actual major.
Cool. Someone also asks, what are any new skills anyone's learned in organizations? I can also start that one as well. Me being on the mechanical team for a solar car for so many years, have gained a lot of skills in 3D modeling. Our car is actually first done in 3D on computers, where we go through like every single part of the car. So we literally have a 3D model of our chassis, 3D model of our suspension, or a 3D model of the panels and everything. So that's always done before actually implementing all parts. So I've learned a ton of skills working with that. I even learned skills of power tools. When we were working on different parts of the car, I have to use a drill sometimes, use circular saw, and even though I've never used those things before, all I remember is that they're to really teach you how to use those things. So definitely being involved in product teams or project center orgs is very important because they teach you things that you sometimes can't even learn in class. So even if you don't have any know how any of these things, they're there to teach you as well. So as long as you have that you want to actually gain that experience, then you can learn those skills. Does anyone else want to talk about things we've learned being in organizations? And they don't have to be projects, of course.
I've learned a lot of things that you don't learn in class, like leadership and communication. And communication is really important, especially when you're talking about technical things, because the reality is when you go into industry or if you continue on through school, you have to, if you're not able to communicate your ideas, then no one will be able to understand or work with you. And I think working or being in a student org has really helped me communicate with my peers, and I think that's really important.
Cool. I actually see here that someone asked other organizations that work on robotics, and yes, of course, there are a bunch. I actually have a friend who is in a project team called Project in a Box, where almost every single project they work on is really robotics and stuff, and there are a lot of organizations that work on robotics. So yes, there are many organizations that work on robotics. So just to get to know all of our orgs better, I just want to go down the line and everyone say that their organization's mission statement. So I'll actually start again. So like I said before, I am the Vice President Internal for the National Society of Black Engineers. And our mission statement is to increase the number of culturally responsible Black engineers who excel academically, succeed professionally, and positively impact the community. So what that really means is that our org is here to pretty much help everyone in academics, their professionalism, and help out the community. And the way we do those things is have study jams, where we have events where we all have study jams together. We work together on our homework and stuff. Like I said before, with our professionalism, we have workshops where we work on your resume, or we have elevator pitch workshops to make sure you know how to present yourself and how to say things you learn in the future. Um, it may sound easy at first, but it's really sometimes it's really hard for some people to be able to go back and think about what can they do and what can they bring to the table when talking to companies. And lastly, the impact in the community. So for NESB, we not only impact our members on campus, we also can impact the community outside of campus. We have elementary schools that we actually go to and do outreach to schools to get them involved in engineering. So more students, younger students are interested in higher education and stuff like that. So anyone else want to talk about their mission statement as well?
Yeah, I can go next. So SWE is the Society of Women Engineers. I am our Vice President Internal for this year. And SWE's mission is to empower women to achieve full potential in careers as engineers and leaders, expand the image of the engineering and technology professions as a positive force in improving the quality of life, and demonstrate the value of diversity and inclusion. So SWE is really just about raising and empowering women in engineering. We do that through professional workshops, building community, doing a ton of outreach in our community so that more girls can get to know about engineering and possible careers available to them. And really a lot of the same things as most of these organizations here. We're all about like building community and preparing our members for life after college as best as we can.
Yeah, so by the way, this is Juan. I'm part of the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. That's short, like long for SHIP. So SHIP's mission is to change the lives by empowering the Hispanic community to realize its fullest potential and to impact the world through STEM awareness, access, support, and development. So what SHIP like to focus on is basically growing the community and spreading the awareness that STEM is an option for a lot of students that come from low socioeconomic areas in San Diego. At least that's for our chapter here. And we also develop our members professionally and allow them to get maybe internships in their future, go to grad school if that's something they're looking forward to.
All right. I believe that's everyone. I will talk. So.
I can go.
Oh yeah. Sorry about that. Go, Samantha.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm currently the intern coordinator for SACE. Last year I was the internal vice president. SACE is the Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. We are part of a larger national org, and that has three mission statements. And those are to prepare Asian heritage scientists and engineers for success in the global business world, to celebrate diversity on campuses and in the workplace, and to give back to community, which essentially boils down to preparing you guys for not only the workplace, but for being even good students, good leaders, and celebrating our heritage and giving back to communities like a lot of these orgs do by volunteering and community service.
Hi, I'm Maddie. I'm in Women in Computing, or WIC for short. So we're coders and engineers of all genders who support the female presence in computing. So we have events like tech talks, technical events like mock interviews and resume workshops. And we have social so that you find your, because as for a lot of our orgs, there's not a lot of us in our classes. So we want to help you find a community and find friends to make you feel comfortable and successful. We also help prepare for grad school. We have conference scholarships as well as attending conferences together, and we run coding competitions. And we also partner with companies to bring their recruiters onto our campus so they can recruit from our org specifically. And I think this is for all the orgs here, that when we work with companies and recruiters, they specifically want to recruit from our orgs. They want to specifically recruit women. They want to have hire people with different backgrounds. And so our members are able to get internships or full-time job opportunities through those info sessions and recruiting processes. Yeah. Oh, WIC does not have a national chapter, and I think if anyone else wants to speak on that, I think everyone else is a national org. Is that right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes. So another question that was also asked in the Q&A was what does a typical day look like for all of us? If our days or weeks are very different, or if some of us are more involved than others. So I can actually start. For me, being the vice president for National Society of Engineers, my role is to pretty much do things on the inside. So like the GBMs, I have to make sure that the beginning of every quarter, I have all the dates already done. So I make sure to send emails to all the buildings that I ask for rooms to make sure I have all the rooms already done for our events. And the events pretty much happen anywhere on campus where we can get a room. The school itself has their own service, and so does engineering. So it's not too hard for us to find rooms on campus. It just depends on where we want to have our events at. And I also talked to member members like the president and the vice president external when making slides for the GBMs. So that usually happens the week of the GBMs. For NESB, we have our GBMs about every 2 to 3 weeks. So that's something I do in the beginning of every 2 to 3 weeks to make sure we have that done ahead of time. And almost every week, we also have a meeting together for the whole board to pretty much talk about what social events you're going to be having. We could also make sure to talk about how's everyone doing when it comes to nationals, and who we're going to be talking to about who we're going to give money to for those who need support for nationals and stuff like that. So it could be many things like those things. Does anyone else want to talk about how a typical week is?
I can go. It's probably not going to be particularly helpful, but because I feel like my days and my weeks are very different because it depends on which classes I have that the homework's going to be really hard, or I have an exam coming up, which means I have a lot more time to study for that. But at least for SACE specifically, we do have weekly board meetings, and those are something you can count on every day. It actually happens, I think this quarter is on Sundays at 10 in the morning. So it's something to keep my schedule regular. And a lot of the other orgs that I'm involved in also have set dates. I think the hardest part is working in school and social activities and all the fun stuff. Just trying to find time to fit it in along with all the org meetings.
Cool. Would anyone else like to answer this?
Mine is similar to Samantha's. I don't really have a typical week or a typical day. Things usually revolve around when we have events. We try to have at least one event a week, whether it's a social or if it's a recruiting event or if it's a technical event or a GBM, a general body meeting. So whatever it is, I usually attend those. We plan for that, whether it's booking rooms, getting food catered, getting people to come. And then I also have meetings, whether it's with board or with other professors or other orgs. We have a lot of meetings, and so the day's not normal. every day. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So let's go more into the questions I have prepared. So let's see here. So do any of the, yes?
John, one moment. I did see one question that I'd like to answer. Someone asked about learning more about other engineering student organizations. At the beginning of the academic school year, the Triton Engineering Student Council TESC does a Engineers on the Green. So the 40 plus engineering student organizations are out on Warren Lawn. So if you all have had the chance to visit UC San Diego, it's the building with the house. So next to the Jacobs School of Engineering, it's a really cool event where you can connect with all the student orgs. You get a little raffle for a little coupon for pizza. All the student organizations that we have are there, and it's just a really great opportunity for you to connect with folks. And our panelists have participated on Engineers on the Green. So if you choose to attend UC San Diego, you would get to meet them there and at their general body meetings and events.
Great. Also, there's some questions that people are asking for Juan. One is how many members are in SHIP, and then the second question is also what is the REACH committee?
So for the members, we end up averaging at about 100 members that come to our events. And those events are like the general body meetings, which is like every 2 weeks is when we held them, and we have a company that comes and talks. We have panels from alumni, and we have all sorts of things, free food. The REACH committee is basically a hard hack that we throw every single year in the middle of the beginning of winter quarter. REACH stands for Rising Engineers Advanced Challenge. So the basis of that is you have 24 hours to build a project that is given to you based on the materials that are given and designing and presenting. So it's like a full, like a round-based presentation that you have to do, and points keep adding up all the way to the end. And then you're paired with a company that you're going to be working with throughout the 24 hours. Hope that answers the question.
Great. There's also questions asking are any organizations that are major exclusive? I believe we said before, most organizations are open to all engineering organizations. There are some that do have specific engineering orgs that engineering majors they would like, but it's not like you have to be those majors to be in them. Although there are engineering orgs that are specifically honor societies, and for those you have to have a certain GPA level to join them. So there aren't, I don't think there are many engineering organizations that ask for certain majors, but there are that do ask for a certain GPA level because they are honor societies and would like to have students that are up that level. So let's see, other questions we have. Okay, so the other question we also have is how do you become a board member in an organization, or when or how? So I can answer that as well. So for me, to become the vice president internal for National Society of Black Engineers, you have from NSBE you have elections at the end of the year, and the way that works is like any other election, you pretty much look at whatever roles you're interested in and see where you're best at, and you see it, and you of course you elect someone else or elect yourself to be to run for it. And usually if there's a person that's running against you, we would have people have speeches, and you talk about what you want to do when you're in that role, and we'll see if if you're a greatest fit, and we'll have everyone vote in the org, and then you put on the board. Anyone else want to talk about how their board gets members?
I can talk about that. So for SWE, similarly, and I think a lot of our orgs, we host elections in spring for board the next year. So most of the time, our boards won't consist of first years, but you'll be able to like join your org and get more involved, and then be able to run for board for your next year if you would be interested in something like that. For SWE specifically, just to be able to run, you need to have participated in 10 hours of SWE events, which isn't a ton if you're interested in the org, and actually participating like 10 hours by spring quarter is 5 hours in fall and 5 hours in winter. It's just, we just ask that you are a part of our org and not just looking to put something on your resume. We really want people who are like committed to the community and committed to help building our organization.
I can talk a bit about that too. SACE specifically has an intern program, so that's where I got my start, and that's specifically, it's more geared towards first years and second years that aren't really sure where they want to go or what they want to do, or even if they want to be involved in the org. So it's kind of a low commitment opportunity to see how the board operates, and that's usually where a lot of our future board members come from. So like I myself started as the internal vice president intern, and then that following year, so my second year, I was the internal vice president for SACE. And I think that's a really good way to get your foot in the door. I'm not sure if all the orgs here have a similar program, but it's really beneficial for you to, I think someone has an intern program, right? Am I tripping? I think someone on this on the panel does, and I think they can talk about it. So.
Yeah, so this year, SHIP began having basically like mentors and basically like guiding people who want to be like in a board position their first year. So we just started that. So the way we're going about it is we have first year, second years that are interested in maybe becoming vice presidents or president in the future or another position. And they're basically paired with that position, and they get to see what it actually looks like from the inside and what all the workload is, all of that, what it's about. And then when elections come, they get to decide if they want to run for that petition or maybe they see another petition more fit for what they want to do.
All right. Some other questions that are also in the Q&A is how many organizations did you join your freshman year? For me, I actually didn't really join a lot of orgs my freshman year, I didn't actually join my first engineering org until my second year. My first year, I was pretty much more interested in creating a community first before working on my engineering skills, or like because I didn't really have any yet. I also a freshman, I was still eyes wide open, interested in school. So my orgs were more social oriented and environmental oriented before they were more engineering oriented. Does anyone else want to talk about their freshman year and who orgs they joined?
Yeah, I can talk about that. Like I said at the beginning, I came into UCSD knowing that I wanted to get involved with Society of Women Engineers. So I found their table at that event that Alejandro was mentioning, Engineers on the Green, and I made it a point to go to all their GBMs. I wasn't sure how exactly I wanted to be involved or what exactly I wanted to do. So I just went to the general body meetings 3 times a quarter and got a feel for the organization. Got dinner because there's always food at our GBMs, and would hang out and meet some other women in engineering, which was a really cool opportunity. And then my second year, I joined a committee for planning our big outreach conference that we hold every year. And so through that, I got a lot more involved and got to know a lot more people, and got more involved, and ran for board my third year, and am still on board my fourth year. So we don't have an internship program like some of the other orgs are mentioning, but we do have a lot of committees and a lot of ways to get involved if you're looking for different aspects of the organization that you could be a part of.
Yeah, I a kind of similar thing. I didn't know what I wanted to be involved with when I started, but I knew I wanted to join an org. So I shopped around at at Engineers on the Green. There's also clubs will table on library walk. So they'll just set up tables along this long walk that leads to the library, and you can just walk and take flyers from people. And I went to a lot of events my first quarter as a freshman, and I decided that I wanted to be the most involved in WIC. So I went to a lot of the meetings, the events, and yeah, and I applied to join board the next year, and I got in, and I've been here ever since.
I
All right,
can
cool. Oh,
oh,
yeah, you can go. Sorry about that.
sorry. I think just to kind of branch off tangentially to that question, I think it's important to definitely see what's out there because your freshman year is a very low stakes kind of place. You're never going to be that free again because things will pick up definitely. So I think that's the best time to try the things you've been wanting to try. My first year, I joined the taiko club, so the Japanese drumming club. So that was really cool, and that's definitely not something I would be able to do now. I really did enjoy it, and I'm glad that I had the opportunity to go out there and just experience that because I don't think I would have pushed myself to do it otherwise. But I had the time and I was curious, really. So I would say just go out, and if there's an org that sounds interesting that's completely not related to your major, just go see what it's like. Who knows? Maybe the people are amazing. Maybe you actually really love it, or you're actually really good at it. You'll stay.
Yeah, definitely. I can definitely add on to that as well. Like my freshman year, I was a part of an improv club because I love comedy and I want to do a little bit of more acting because in high school I was in the drama team. So that was a lot of fun to try that a little bit. I also joined an environmental activism group. So that was also pretty cool. I had to learn a little bit more about, how pretty much laws work. And I actually went to a lobby day where I actually lobbied in Sacramento about the environment and other problems that we want to help fix. So even though I was an engineering major, I even like did some political things. So if you're interested in anything else other than engineering, your first year, definitely go for it because you're probably not going to have as much time again later on in your college career. So anything you feel like you want to do your freshman year, go out and do it, and make sure that you're happy with what your choices were. Some of the questions out of the Q&A are you have to reapply every year. For some organizations, it depends. For NESB, we do not ask you to exactly apply. You just come to events and we know who's there. For other organizations, like for me, for Engineers for a Sustainable World, they do have a quarterly or yearly dues you have to pay every quarter, or you can pay it once every year, and that pretty much pays for the events and that they have, like that pays for the retreats we have every quarter. Other big things we also have. So some organizations do have it where you have to pay dues either every quarter, every year. So that pretty much is go towards their events they have. Another question that person has is GBMs. So that stands for General Body Meetings. So that pretty much means, and this is in almost every single or on campus, a general body meeting is just a meeting that we have. It can be about anything pretty much. It's just a meeting where any member can come and will be an event or some kind of a social event. So a general body meeting is pretty much just that. And the question the person has in the Q&A that everyone actually can go down the line and answer is tell us an experience you personally have that you enjoyed or gained from being in your org. I can start with for Nesby. I guess for me, a cool experience that actually happened recently. I actually started my own workshop in Nesby. So I gained a skill outside of Nesby and called LaTeX, which is like coding to make a document. And I wanted to teach others because I found it as a really cool skill because it makes your documents like way better than trying to work on Word or anything else because it's like literally coding to what you want to do on the document. And I feel like I've used it so much that I can actually teach others how to use it. So I actually made my own workshop and led it myself and taught our other members how to use LaTeX so they can actually work on their resumes with it. So when they go to conference, they were able to have their resume look the best way they can, rather than just going on Word or Google Docs. They actually learn how to use a service they probably never even would have heard of if they didn't go to the workshop. And I think that was like one of the best feelings for me because I worked my way up to like being able to do that. So I think that was a really cool experience that I had. Anyone else want to go through an experience that they were able to do because of their organization?
Um, I'll go. So I was able to attend um, the my first Grace Hopper conference through Women in Computing. The Grace Hopper conference is the largest celebration of women in computing. Last year, 20,000 people attended, and it sells out in under an hour. So it's kind of crazy that like it's just a conference for computing. And it's crazy that like it sells out like it's a concert. But WIC did sponsor me with paying for my airfare and my ticket cost. So I went, and it was really fun because you're there surrounded by so many women like you. And you get a lot of free stuff at the career fair. I got these light up ears from Disney that I just happened to have behind me. But yeah, this was really cool because they're like $18, but I got that for free, and I got to go on a trip with a bunch of really incredible women that I just met who I go to school with. Yeah, and it was really fun.
I would say the same thing. My favorite experiences I've had with SWE has been going to these conferences that happen every year. SWE is a global organization, not just national, so it's literally just the largest gathering of women in engineering in the world, and it happens in November every year, and it's really awesome. It's a huge career fair, so many opportunities, so many sessions to go and learn more and like learn different possibilities there are for you. So like I've gone to panels on like women working in government as engineers, women working for like national labs as engineers. And it's just really cool to hear about all these non-traditional paths that are available to me, not just like what big industry has to offer. And just being able to go, like Maddie said, with this incredible group of people from your org and get to share an experience with them. That's something really unique and really fun about being part of these orgs.
All right, cool. Anyone else want to answer? Well, all right then. Well, it's getting really close to 4 o'clock, so we're pretty much gonna close and wrap everything up. So again, I'll reintroduce myself. I am Sean, and I am a fourth-year mechanical engineering major, and I am the vice president internal investment scientific engineers. I hope you enjoy learning about all these engineering orgs and are more excited about coming to UCSD. Engineering orgs or any type of organization on campus is a big part of being a student on campus because you get to learn about who you are and really get to learn like what you want to actually do too as well, because sometimes you come to school and you're not really sure what you want to work on or want to do with your major, and these organizations are pretty much here to teach you what you can do and what your major can really help the world with. I myself love being part of Engineers for a Sustainable World because I've learned what I can do with my engineering skills. I can help the environment, and being part of NESB helped me connect with other Black students on campus that are sometimes hard to see but are still there. So thank you everyone, and I'm gonna pass it on to Alejandra.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for attending. I know there's still a few questions in the Q&A, but I did want to also plug our next webinar, which is taking place on Thursday. That one is an opportunity for you all to hear from also current students who are involved in research on campus. And that's Thursday at 4 o'clock. We will be posting a reminder on our Instagram channel with the meeting ID. You can also find information about the webinar via in your emails. I just want to first off thank you to our panelists. They're amazing student leaders on campus, so definitely tune in the fall to connect with them. Well, thank you so much for attending, everyone. Go ahead and